Hello everybody, and welcome to another tutorial in camera and lens repair. And this time I will take a look at a little tricky Canon Macro lens EF 180mm 3.5L, and it has some focus problem. So a friend of mine asked me if I could take a look at it, and I think it sounds interesting, but I mean, it could be the focus motor. Well, it wasn't. So what else could it be? Loose screws or whatever? No, not really. So I went into the lens from the front up here, because I already looked into it and found what was wrong, and it's up here somewhere. And by focusing, turn on the camera, is a Canon 500D, as you can see here, this one, and it works really good. And so if I try to press on the shutter, just press slightly, the lens will, well, not really much will happen. Because the distance to my hand is too little, of course, I know. But if we look at what happened, it cannot really, of course, it's a too short distance, of course. But at first, when I get into the lens, this it would only slightly move, very, very little. A tiny fraction. With the scale in here would just move very, very, very little. So, and the sound, it comes from the ultrasonic motor, but it was a weird, not motor sound, as I think. So I think it must be something, maybe some stuck things up here, and yeah, I will show you what I saw. So I will go into the lens, just have it unhook my camera here, and the lens cap on the back here. So what I found out, one have to take off the ring here on the front, and which is in this case I should use a lot of isopropyl alcohol around the edge of the plastic. The ring here is actually metal, aluminium. So I simply add a lot of isopropyl alcohol, and mostly on the two the two notches here, so it can suck into their thread lock. They have used some thread lock here, definitely. And also add a lot here and let it sit a little. Now, since I've been into it before, it should be quite easier. So I first use my this lens tool. Yeah, you may be laughing, but it's really good and it's strong. So by putting it in here, it was too tight, so I put it on my desk, right out to the edge, and clamp it, two very strong clamps on it onto the desk. So it was here, so I could just over the table put in the lens itself and have a good grip on it. So it was only the lens I should think of, not the lens tool. So by turning it slightly, I could then use a rubber tool. This is a gasket, something. Maybe some of those, the gray rubber could also be very useful, but I think sometimes they are not too sticky. But we can use it anyway. So when things are loose, it's really good to unscrew it in that way. You will not damage anything. So unscrew the front ring here fully, and we should be able to take off the ring. So this is how it looks inside. Nothing special. And if we look into here, you can see one screw there, there, and there. So I unscrew it, and then in that way you can take the whole barrel here on the front with the scale window here, and get into what, so we can really see what's happening here. And also what I found out, there was a mark somewhere, I think it was over here or the other side, but I want to show you. The screws here has a very slightly amount of thread lock, not on the thread, but more on the screw head. Oh, it's good with a magnetized screwdriver here. It'll make it a lot easier both to take it out and put it in again. So we can not having too much grip on here, because when you loosen you unscrew the last screw, it will pop off that way. So holding down here will be better. So we can unscrew this, and maybe here, so. And we can take the last screw out. Difficult to do on camera. Both show it to people and just see what the camera sees. So, and it's out. All screws are out. This lens cap is not really good. Now, so we can do this, we simply, it's not necessary to take the front lens group out. We can just put this, pull this off, and then we have inside look here. What I found out by looking around here on the edge, there is some, you maybe can see there is some mark here. And I think, it's just my opinion, that if I look inside here, and we hold it in that way, the marks I found was over here, and the marks I actually look in here, you maybe not, can see there is something here. Maybe it's different to see on the camera, but you maybe can see there's something. So I thought, just a guess, that things are rubbing against it, but then I found out it's nothing, that this does not rubbing against, it doesn't have anything to do with the focusing ring in here. So but when I took this off, the lens works as it should. So we can just try to attach it to the camera, okay, so we can see what's going on inside here. So turn off it, and then we can see what's happened in here. If we can make, oh, have to turn on the camera, so we can see what's happened. And if I point it to something very light, it will be more alive. I can just do this. You can see it works as it should. But of course, if there is not a light enough, it will be a problem. So if I do this here, have it point at something very light, it I think it will work much better. But if it cannot focus proper, it will work really slow in that way. But the lens is working as I see it. So when you point it at something that is light enough, it will work. And it beeps, and it's actually working as it should. And also the focusing ring itself does work, even if it's on AF or MF, and it doesn't really matter if I'm 1.5 millimeter to infinity, it will still work. So you can see it hasn't any problem. So now I'm very close to a subject, and now I'm more farther away, and because yeah, you can see it does really work, and it beeps as it should. So my guess is maybe the lens have been knocked into something with the front here, and it just came out of alignment. It could be, but in my opinion, I think it's interesting just taking off the front barrel here, or front ring here, actually solve the problem here. There might be other problems. I will just see if the scale here is loose. So, or anything loose? No, not really. So my guess is that it was the error, that something was, yeah, I don't know, but I think it's interesting because of this front ring. The lens came back to work. So we can just try to put it on again. If I tilt if you think of tilting the front ring a little, it will block whatsoever, so it will not really move. But if I have it free, it will work. So my guess is that the tolerance in here is very tight. So but the lens came back to work, which I'm very happy about. And one can actually see when putting things back in, we have to find the holes in here. Where would it go? There. And the other is over here, and the last one is actually, oh sorry, it's down here somewhere. So I can just put the screws in again and say that's all fine. The screws, we can just take that. I mean, if the screws are not good or you're missing one, we can just take and measure the screws for that. The screws are 1.64 millimeter, maybe it's 65, maybe I think 164 is fine, and it's a fine cut thread. It's a millimeter thread. And how long is it? So it's 7.31 millimeter long. And what is the actual length? It will say how long is it from the underside of the screw head to the very end of the screw. So we can also measure that, if it's possible here. Come on. No, that's not easy. But I think, why is so not so easy? Well, the actual screw, it's where the thread is 6.83 millimeter. So you can see here from the end of the screw to the under the screw head. Not easy, but I hope you get it. So I will simply assemble this part again. Hopefully I can put it in here. Not easy. I have to see it correct. So there. And I do not tighten the screws yet until all of them are in, and I can maybe align the front barrel here to so it could be the error for this lens, but let's see. Yeah, it's very light. Yeah, seems to work pretty good when there is light enough. It should be fine, and it's full open aperture. Yeah. So, and before it would just beep 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 beep, something like that, and could not focus. I mean, very, very little. So it could be the reason it did work, but of course the focusing motor could also be the problem. So hopefully it will be the case for your lens, so you do not have to buy a new one. And I also thought it could be some of the flex cable that was wrong, but this was very, what do you say, mechanical problem. Really difficult to put on this front ring. So click, then we just screw it in. Don't press too much on this ring, because then it will be too tight. So that was it. And then the lens is back in work. So hopefully you can use the info in this case. It could be whatever else, but I also tried to set it on manual and the short distance, long distance, whatsoever. But it's still, you can see it also works in MF, in manual focus, but it didn't work before. So it's really, really good, which I'm quite happy with. We can set it to AF again and see long distance. So that's it. Hope you can use the info about this lens. Yeah, see you sooner in another video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.